No, this isn't clickbait. They really did change their name. Yes, I am still sticking with the DAW, and version 8, which I've had for about a month now, is actually pretty good. So if that's all you came for, then there you go. Otherwise, come on over, friend. Grab a drink and a snack and let's talk about it. Now, before anything else, if you could do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button, that would mean a lot to me. I'm really trying to grow this channel, and so if you like what I do here, if you like the videos that I put out, this is a very easy and free way to support the channel. And here's the best part, you can always take it back. If you watch a few videos and you're like, hey, you know what, I really don't like that guy, you can always unsubscribe later. But yes, if you could, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. Depending on when you're watching this, you might have already seen that PreSonus Studio One Pro is now being rebranded as Fender Studio Pro. In addition, the latest version of the software, now titled Fender Studio Pro 8, is also out as of today, January 13th. And I do have a separate video coming in a few days going over the best new features, as I always do, so stay tuned for that. But today I want to talk about what this rebrand means and my honest thoughts. Now, if I'm being honest, this doesn't feel too far left field, because ever since the Fender acquisition back in late 2021, we have started to see more and more Fender involvement over time with things like the Fender Studio app, which basically looked like a mobile version of Studio One. That makes more sense now. And of course, the new quantum interfaces with the guitar reamp features, which were developed alongside Fender. So all that to say, the writing was pretty much on the wall, but what does this mean exactly? What is actually happening, and what does it mean for Studio One users like you and me? From what I was able to understand, moving forward, the software formerly known as Studio One will be shifted over to Fender completely, hence the rebrand, and PreSonus will now focus on live hardware only, such as their Studio Live mixers. Now, at face value, this seems a bit alarming because most people don't like change, and especially if it's for the worse. I know one of the biggest concerns when the acquisition first happened was that Studio One would take the backseat and get less features. And this was even more amplified when Fender CEO Andy Mooney did an interview and said, "Having dabbled in recording myself, I've never found a DAW I didn't need an MIT degree to actually use. You shouldn't need to spend more time figuring out how to use a DAW than you do creating. And the simplest version of Studio One right now has a 150-page owner's manual, which I have said to the team is 149 pages too many, because you should be able to get out the box, press one button, and you're off to the races." What some people seem to take away from that was that we needed to take things away to make Studio One simpler, and that now that a big corp took over, Studio One would be ruined because it would serve as a pawn to Fender's bigger financial goals. A third concern, and one that I share personally, was that with Studio One going the Fender route, that software would start to maybe focus more on guitar, which is not bad. Listen, I'm also a player, but then also get less production features, especially for people in the pop and hip hop space like myself. Well, that interview was back in 2022, so was everyone right? Yes and no. On one hand, I actually agree with Andy about most DAWs being too complex. If I'm being honest, that is precisely what attracted me to Studio One back in 2012, and one of the reasons why I'm still here today. This DAW is super user-friendly, and it genuinely makes making music a joy for me. That's just the truth. That said, I don't think we need less features. I think we need the right features, more intentional features. If this was still 2022 though, then we'd have to wait and see what would come next. But since then, we have gotten a few updates, including version 7, which introduced a ton of new production features like the splice integration, stem separation, global transposition, and many more that I have gladly welcomed into my workflow. I actually spoke to the head of PreSonus at the Studio One 7 launch event in New York back in late 2024, and there I expressed to him these concerns. What he told me was that although he understood, he assured me that Studio One was a bigger priority than ever, and that if anything, the acquisition meant more resources to make it even better. Fast forward another year or so, and I've now had version 8 for about a month now, and I'll save the new feature talk for that next video, but what I can tell you now is that we've gotten more really cool production stuff and some cool guitar stuff as well. Now, obviously, what is cool is subjective, but at least for me, I've been having a good time. So in regards to dumbing down Studio One, I don't think that's true. From what we've seen, it's actually been the opposite. PreSonus and Fender have been listening, and it might not be at the pace that we would like, but they have been implementing some really cool stuff over time that I've really been enjoying. Still, that does not mean we're in the clear. Fender, at the end of the day, is still a publicly traded company, and that means that by definition, their job is to grow revenue and increase shareholder value. Now, that does not mean they don't care about the customer. As a matter of fact, my experience with both Fender and PreSonus up until this point has been great. But it still worries me a bit because in that 2022 interview, Andy said, "My assumption is if we get more people started on recording, based on what happened with Fender Play, they'll gravitate up to actually paying for subscription services and buy more hardware." This comes in two parts for me. Andy is clearly a guitar guy looking to expand the guitar market, so deep down I still worry just a little bit that this DAW will start to go more down the guitar route, which again is not bad. I am also a player, but just leaving the production stuff behind. The subscription piece though is the one that actually worries me, and I don't think it's totally unfounded. If you guys remember version 6, that whole thing was kind of a fiasco with the whole hybrid Pro Plus subscription model they were trying to push. Is that still even a thing? And we cannot forget them putting the lead architect of VST behind the subscription paywall. I don't think I'm alone when I say this, but I do not want more subscriptions. I actually canceled all my streaming services this past year, and I went as far as starting to collect physical media again and making my own streaming platform out of the CDs that I own. I am tired of not owning anything, so no, I don't want more subscriptions. Now, where this path leads, we still don't know yet, but that is still a big concern for me because I would hate for Studio One, or now Fender Studio, to turn into the EA games of music production where you get pitched products inside the software and everything becomes a microtransaction. Not to mention that right before I recorded this video, Fender has announced a new CEO, Edward Cole, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. The last thing I will say about this whole thing is that if anything, this further validates my decision to pivot beyond Studio One when it comes to making content here on YouTube. If you missed it, I recently did a video explaining that I don't want to keep doing Studio One tutorials anymore, or at least exclusively. This channel has gone through a few pivots over the last 8 years, and for a while now, the main focus has been Studio One, which is maybe how you found me. And listen, don't get me wrong, I love talking about this software because I genuinely enjoy it. But at the end of the day, I was tethering my entire online presence and my business, if I'm being honest, to another company that could change things at any moment, and they did. As I stated in that video, I am not moving away from Studio One. This is still home base, this is still my DAW of choice, and I am a producer first and foremost. So if I'm making music, it'll be in Studio One. That said, I do want to do more than that. This month, because of the hype, will be more Studio or Fender Studio. That'll take a while to get used to. It'll be more Fender Studio focused as we explore the new features and how they impact my workflow, but do expect some new content as well beyond that. So in conclusion, so far I'm not too mad at it. They made a brand change, which does suck in regards to SEO for me, but aside from the label, Studio One / Fender Studio feels better than ever. So for now, I'm sticking with it, but of course, I will always keep you guys updated on any new developments. You might feel different though, so now I'd love to hear from you. What do you think of this move? Are you happy with the changes? Are you staying with Studio One? Are you considering coming over? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. In any case, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, guys. Look out for that next video where we dive into the features, but until then, I'll see you on the next one.